Ultra Guy here. Excited about this week. I've got Jonathan Jaworski on the call, and I'm sure I said that without the proper accenting. So please correct me when I turn the time over to you, Jonathan. But I've stalked Jonathan a while on Instagram, and I love his content and his brand, so to speak, and just kind of started digging into his content and felt like he would be a great guest to have on and spend a little time getting to know him. But I'm really excited to introduce you guys this week to Jonathan. Jonathan, would you just mind kind of introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you found running and sports.
Cool. Very excited to be here. Number one, thank you so much for your time, and everybody listening. Thank you so much for your time as well. Jonathan Jaworski. I'm 34. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been running ultras now for 3, 4 years. Like February 2022 was my first 50K. Played sports growing up as a kid. I got three older brothers, so sports was very big in my family. So I was very into athletics and stuff like that, but I would never say that running, was something I did for fun. I played football, baseball, basketball. I was a wrestler. Physical activity, running was all part of it, but it wasn't something I looked to do. When I played youth tackle football, we used to run a lap around the field to start practice every day called the big lap. And I almost quit playing football because I did not want to do that lap anymore. I was so over it. So to tell that kid that he's running 100, 200-mile races now, he would not believe you. I would say I kind of found running during COVID a little bit. To be honest, I had fallen back to bad habits during COVID, took things a little too far in terms of having a little too much fun and needed a little bit of a change. And I found running and started with some small races, half marathons, and then just made the jump into ultra, skipped over the marathon. I went from a 19-mile trail run into the ultra world, and here we are now, a few years later.
Dive right in. That's awesome. I've never actually met someone that skipped. Well, maybe I have, but I just don't remember someone who skipped the marathon, because I think the marathon is kind of like that. Everyone knows about the
Yeah.
marathon. It's a household name, so to speak. But yeah, that's interesting.
I went from a road half marathon to a trail half marathon, and then I just fell in love with the trail running part. And I've never run a road marathon still to this day, and I don't know if I ever will. I don't want to run fast. I want to run far.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. Uh, you said something that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. When you talked about a lot of my guests that I've met and just people I've met in general, they really did find running during COVID. Not a great time for the country necessarily or the world, but a great time to have a lot of time on your hands.
Huh. Yeah.
Depending on your situation. So a lot of people, found themselves getting back into running or finding running to begin with. But you said something about you found your way into some old habits and you were having a little too much fun. Um, what if you don't mind kind of going down that road a little bit? What was it that was going on? I'm not a huge partier, but I know that I enjoy
Huh.
hanging out a little too late once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to get some more insight on that. I think our listeners like to hear about a lot of that
Sure.
backstory.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say depends who you ask in my life. A lot of people would tell you that I never had a problem with alcohol. And I would say my problem was always that I would just never know when to stop. I never knew when it was a good time to stop. And if I was going to have some drinks, it was going to be a rip roaring kind of night. And when COVID came around, school, I'm a teacher. I teach elementary school PE, coach high school football and baseball. Like my school became like 1 hour a day online. All sports were canceled. So like I had a very, very large amount of free time on my hand on a regular basis. And it just became like golf courses in Arizona were still open. So I was going to the golf course, having drinks, coming home, having more drinks in the pool. And like, it was just a really bad habit I was getting into. And it was just becoming a lot and too much. And I just knew that the path I was going down was not going to lead to some very good stuff. And I guess it's a problem I probably had throughout college and stuff, just, drinking to fit in and again, just never knowing when that time to stop really was. And it would just led to a lot of blackouts and those things as you get older get less fun and the hangovers the next day get less fun. The anxiety gets way less fun. And I was starting at a new school after that summer and I was going to take a month off from drinking and just like get fully ready to go into a new school year. And that was July of 2020, and that still has been to this day. I haven't picked up another drink since.
Nice.
People say you traded one addiction in for another, but I'll take what I'm doing now over what I was doing before any day of the week.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few people on the podcast. Some I know quite well personally, and some that I just have met online and then through the podcast. But this idea of using ultra running or endurance sport for recovery is or as a recovery method. And I'm no doctor and I'm no recovery coach by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a reoccurring trend. It's a really
Oh,
big
100%.
reoccurring theme in this podcast with my guests, and it's very fascinating to me. And I always and all different levels. One of my guests was addicted to meth, and he used ultras to get off of that. It's just fascinating to me that this idea of running in the woods or the desert for our case, running outside in the desert or on a trail in the woods, that it is such a big proponent for recovery. I'd love to hear more about that and that journey that you did go through to, in using that running endurance sport for the recovery.
Yeah, for me, like my struggle, I wouldn't even pigeonhole it to just like alcohol, but it's a dopamine thing, right? Everybody's looking for that hit of dopamine and they just want more and more of the dopamine. And I found that running gives me that same kind of dopamine hit that drinking used to. And, you know, the thing I think I love most about the sport is, especially when you're in like these long races and you're with people and you get distilled down to the most purest form of yourself so fast when you're in the suck and when you're in the struggle, when you find people like I've met some of my, like you said, meeting people with the same kind of story of recovery that you find a lot of common ground out there on the trail. And for me, it's my therapy. It allows me to process a lot of things and talk through a lot of things because I'm a classic overthinker. The conversation in my head it's nonstop, 24/7, 365. So when I'm out there, when I'm on my feet, when I'm running, like a lot of those voices kind of quiet down and I'm able to kind of have those deeper conversations, reflect on a lot of stuff in my life and just proving to yourself that you're capable, proving to yourself that you are the person that you say you are that can make change and be the person you want to be that shows up for yourself in a better way than you were before.
Yeah, it's almost like you said that you're trading one addiction for the other. I mean, drinking in our culture is pretty accepted. But like there's that line that you cross where it's like, this isn't accepted. Drugs are different, right? It's not as definitely accepted.
Sure.
But if you go tell someone, hey man, listen, man, I'm an alcoholic and I love it. It's my therapy. It's the greatest thing. It's changed my life. People would be like, what are you talking about?
What are you
But when you
talking?
said traded your addiction, right? You could go around and be like, yeah, I'm super into ultras. It's like a therapy for me. And it is kind of weird and crazy, but it just does so much for me. Everyone's gonna be like, hey, that good for you.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
almost
I
like,
have that conversation all the time with people. I don't know
yeah.
how you do it. I'm like, it's a weird hobby. I don't really get it all the time either, but I love it.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, people coming from a place of addiction. I would imagine it would make you feel proud to be like, no,
Absolutely.
I don't drink. I'm not doing drugs anymore. I'm in recovery, and this is what I do. You're like proud to talk about it and pin yourself as this type of person who's doing this
Absolutely.
great thing. I've always thought that's a part of the ultra endurance sport recovery component you're just people are really proud of what they're doing, and it's something that they can share with others and not be like, I don't drink that much. We kind of say something similar like, oh, I didn't run that much today, but then they say, well, how much did you run today?
Runflation's a real thing.
Yeah. So maybe there's some similarities there, but
Oh,
go ahead.
absolutely.
Sorry.
No, there's a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes from Alex Hormozy. He says, self-confidence isn't born by shouting affirmations in a mirror, but by building an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt. And I'm somebody who has doubted myself every step of the way in my life. And I doubt myself a lot less now because I've proven to myself that I can do really hard things and still show up in my life in many different ways. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of correlation between those things.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yeah, I haven't heard a ton of his stuff, but the stuff I have heard, the different, sound bites, he's got a really interesting perspective. So I
Yeah, he
really
does.
appreciate you sharing that. So you skip the marathon, go straight to the 50K,
55K in Moab.
55K in Moab. Which what better what better place to start?
Insane. Absolutely insane. It's like you're running on Mars. It's like the coolest thing in the world.
And it's just so beautiful.
Especially being from the Midwest, like originally. I'm from the
Oh
Chicago suburbs
yeah,
and like being out in like the mountains and the rocks. I'm like, I'm used to cornfields and stuff. This is like the coolest thing in the world.
yeah, I bet. So you start with the 55K. Kind of walk us through that because I think there's something special that happens at your first race. You obviously skipped the marathon, so a lot of people have that endearing moment at the marathon. But I'd love to hear about that first race that you experienced, and what you went through, and maybe kind of what trajectory it set you on.
It was really cool. You don't know what you don't know going into your first race and stuff like that. Like overall, I felt like it went really smooth. It's crazy to look back now and think like I was at mile 17 and things were starting to like really hurt. And I'm like, 17 miles is like casual now. But like you get through it. And I remember coming towards the end of the race and there were some low points, but I don't remember it ever being like too crazy low. But I was coming, you come down this one last turn and you're coming down this hill towards the finish line. I started tearing up. I started welling up with tears. And I was like, man, like, you really did this. Like this is crazy. And then I crossed the finish line and I had a thought like, was that it? Like, cause that's supposed to be like, I thought this was going to be a little bit harder to be honest.
Yeah,
So like, it definitely was like, it definitely hurt, but I wasn't completely drained. So it kind of left a little something like, huh, maybe I could do a little more. Cause I mean, I got into ultras and I was never in my mind thought like, I knew about 100, 200 mile distances, but never once did those cross my mind. I was like, all right, maybe we can do a 50 mile, or maybe let's move into a 50. And that first 50K was really cool, but that first 50 miler that I did, that was the next race I did. It was really special because I brought a crew out for the first time. Four of my best friends, went with me. That was at Bryce Canyon, another Southern Utah beauty. So I go
yes.
down to Bryce Canyon and like getting to see the crew and like getting to those aid stations and just the people you find at an ultra marathon are just the most salt of the earth people. Everybody wants to see everybody be successful. It's everybody versus the course. Yes, you're going to have your 5, 10, 15 people maybe that are there to actually compete for the top, but everybody's just out there to see what they can do and just see the support I had from those friends. Like I'm at the last aid station. One of my buddies has got my Theragun just hammering my hip flexor, and I'm like screaming. He's like, "Should I stop? Should I stop?" I'm like, "No, please stop! It just hurts." And just like the core memories that you build with the people that you meet out at these events is like it's world class. It's all time.
Yeah, and talk about reoccurring themes. This is another reoccurring theme. This idea of community. People probably hear us, me, other people talk about it. And they're like, "Shut up! It's not that good." Look, try it. I'm just saying, try it. I
Yeah.
promise you. I've met people that I've spent hours and hours pacing on the trails, them pacing me, vice versa, doing whatever. We don't go to dinner together, but if he called me, he's like, "Hey, I've signed up for the monster. You pace me, sure, let's go."
It literally happened to me in Tahoe. I met some guys in Tahoe, and now like we're talking about pacing each other for different races, and like
Right.
the people you meet, because like I said, you get distilled down to the purest form, and like you're not trying to put on a show for anybody because you're so damn tired to begin with that you're just you. All you can be is just you at those times.
Yeah. I've often thought about this, Jonathan. If I ever had an ultra friend that I like to refer to a job, because when you refer someone to a job, like
Yeah.
HR would be like, "Oh, thank you for the referral. Tell me about this person." You'd be like, "Oh, well, At like mile 180, the dude is solid. He's solid.
I know I can trust him.
Like his stomach's like ironclad. He could eat at 180.
Yeah.
I mean, his pace is a little slower, but it's good. Like,
He's
hey
still
Jonathan,
moving. He's
like,
still getting
what do you think this guy could do for the company? Like, oh well, he'd never quit. He would
no
never.
idea.
He'd never give up. Whatever task you put in front of him, he'd never give up. He'd just figure it out. But other than that, I don't know if he knows Excel. I don't know if he knows anything about
I don't know
anything.
what kind of technical skills he's got, but he's got no quitting him. I know that.
Yeah, that's it's so funny because I've had a few people equate it to like a trauma bonding. You know,
That's pretty
yeah,
much yeah.
yeah. Like you've gone through something. Obviously, there's extreme trauma bonding that's not even close to what we're talking
Yeah,
about out there.
absolutely.
But at this level, you're still bonding through like
Serious
your
stuff.
your serious like your feet hurt. Everyone's having moments like and everyone's there to help each other, which is so interesting because in other sports you would think you're like, hey, can you spare some electrolyte powder? Oh no, no.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
ultimately,
Everybody's
yeah,
so
what do you
concerned.
want? They're like a
Yeah,
walking
I'll give you
drugstore.
everything I got. I'll give you everything I got.
I got ibuprofen, I got Advil, like what, some Tylenol. What do you want? It's just so awesome that everyone is out there to support each other.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's a reoccurring theme with this show is the community, and I just hope we can keep that community as special as possible for as long as
absolutely,
possible.
absolutely.
So Bryce Canyon,
Yep.
beautiful place. I mean,
Hmm.
another no-brainer place to do your first 50
Yeah,
miler.
it was really cool.
What and you said you had four friends come out, which is really
Yeah.
special because I don't know about you, Jonathan, but as I've invited my non-ultra friends to help out, participate, I've been so taken back, and they're great friends. Don't get me wrong, but like I was like telling one guy, I was like, hey, because he was like, hey, I'd like to help when I was doing one of my longer multi-day events, and he says, I don't know if I could pace, but I was like, well, would you mind like cooking stuff like for the crew? He's like, heck yeah. He was out there for 3 days. He was the cook. He was following everyone around. It's just
I got,
amazing. It's
I've
amazing.
got, yeah, so I got those four friends, some of my best friends come to that one. Absolutely crushed it as my crew. I did like 5 or 6 more 50 milers. I didn't bring any more crew after that for 50s because I was like, all right, I'm confident that I can do this and I don't want to like burden people. I'm terrible at asking for help. So like I'm terrible at like, hey, can you want to come help me this, that, whatever. The next summer I do my first 100 miler. I go up to Colorado to run the Silver Heels 100. It's a small race. There was 35 people that ran it. The race is almost exclusively at 10,000 feet above sea level. I did zero research into this when I signed up for this race. I had no idea I was going to be that high up, just very naive early first 100 miler. So, like I said, I coach high school football, high school baseball. I have two 19-year-olds who are in their freshman summer of college going into their sophomore year who come up with me, who I coached in baseball and football, and spend 2 days with me while I run for 30 hours to run my first 100-mile race just to crew me. Those two guys and then one of my other good friends come to that one. And then I have another former football player of mine who had the Zion 100 last year. He ran 10 miles of it with me. He's run his first marathon and stuff. He was 20 years old. And then
Nice.
this last year at Tahoe, I had three people who are not runners come out, crew me the whole entire time. My roommate, my best friend, was my crew chief. He absolutely crushed it. Two of those guys, all three of them, the longest they had ever run was 6 or 7 miles before this
Wow.
race with me. Two of them put down 14. The other guy ran 38 miles with me.
Oh my gosh.
He had never done more than 7 miles at one time before. We're getting
That
to
is
the end of an 18-mile stretch, and I'm like hurt, and I'm about to go turn around and do this next stretch by myself. And he's like, "Hey, I didn't want to tell you yet, but I'm coming back with you the other way." It got me so fired up. It's like mile 160 in Tahoe. It's day 2 or 3 or whatever, and I'm just like over the moon, so excited. I'm just always so blown away by the willingness of people to come and do stuff for me to support me. Like I never think I deserve it, but I'm always just so grateful for it.
Right. I couldn't agree more. I just I feel the same way about my friends, ultra friends and non-ultra friends that have been there, through all these different adventures I've done, and I'm sure you feel the same way. And
Absolutely.
it's amazing that your friend actually ran an ultra, pacing
They never
you.
more than 7 miles and he runs the ultra with me. It's like casual. No,
Yeah,
I was like, I'll get you your own medal. I'll make you a
yeah.
custom medal so you can get one.
What a boss.
Yeah.
Real funny side story that, well, it wasn't funny at the time, but side story. I went with a group up to the Grand Canyon to do rim to rim to rim. Long
I'm doing it
story.
next month.
I took a spill down at the my first step at the very bottom. I took a spill and I kind of tweaked my knee. It's just I was being a baby, so I tried to run it out a little bit, and I was like, all right, it's tightening up. There's no way. So I ate a bunch of Advil and just hiked out as fast as I could to let so not get caught down there, with it tightening up real bad. Well, anyway, this is a big group, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gift shop and get these guys like a magnet or something, pseudo race trophy, like any, and then I'm gonna stand there, and as they come out, I'm gonna give them their race, medal. So I was at the Grand Canyon South Bright Angel gift shop,
Mhm.
right, whatever they call it, I don't remember the name of it. So I'm in there, and I find this one that I thought was cool, and so I grabbed for as many as there was people that was doing the event. And they rung me up at the register, and I about fell off my chair. Let's just put it this way: the magnets at the Grand Canyon are a ripoff. But I was already committed. I already had this mentally planned out. My wife was probably like, "What did you buy for that much in the Grand Canyon?"
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I'll pay it off right now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I met with one of those guys a couple weeks ago, and they're like, dude, I was telling my wife, because their wives were there with us, and they're like, I was telling my wife about that. We've got it on our fridge. She's like, honey, this is the magnet guy from the Grand Canyon. But but it's special. You get like, and you said you're going to get your buddy a little trinket or something.
Yeah.
It really means something because it's a symbol of what you did. Belt buckle,
Hmm.
Death March did a bolo tie for Spike Camp.
It's
Whatever
awesome.
it is, just really cool, little trinkets. I mentioned on my last podcast with Michael Whiteside, the Canyon de Chelly Ultra, they hand beaded turquoise necklaces for the finishers.
Wow.
I mean, it
That's
was,
incredible.
yeah, I mean, handmade, that was
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, I think for me at least, it's a symbol of what you did.
Hmm.
And that's why it's so special to us. And it is just a belt buckle, or it is just a
But
magnet.
I'll tell you
So,
what, when I look at those things, there's some memory that gets triggered of some part of that race. Like
yeah,
there's some memory that'll come up just from looking at that thing or seeing it. And that's what it's about. Those memories, man. It's those memories for the time you put into it.
yeah, I agree, 100%. So your first 100 was that one up in Colorado, which you kind of glossed over that, but I kind of want to focus on the fact
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you chose a Colorado event. Altitude and elevation is going to be nuts,
Yeah.
just just nuts.
It definitely like I guess I'm a teacher, so like I was looking for summer stuff to try to like I was like, all right, I'm gonna run 100 in the summer, so I have plenty of time without having to go back to school. Because I remember the first 50 I did on like a weekend of a school weekend. That Monday at school, I was like brain fog. Yeah, just for 50. I was like, all right, I don't want to like deal with 6 year olds the day after running 100 miles. So I find a summer one, and I was like, oh, this one seems pretty cool. It's got like what 16, 17,000 feet of climbing. That's not too terrible from what I can like tell from races. Again, living in Arizona where like everything's gonna have some kind of elevation up and down. You can find some pretty flat stuff, but so I find this Colorado race, and then I camped out right next to the start line, like in a tent the night before, and like you start the race at 9,500 feet. Within the first mile, you're over 10,000 feet, and you don't get back under 10,000 feet until mile 99.
Wow,
Actually, I
wow.
should say 103 because it was a 104-mile race.
And the fact that there's 35 people, I think those small ones are so special
Yeah.
because it's just like it's just us,
Yeah,
and
it was like that was like the real fall in love with this sport itself, and then like the multi-day event, like going through the night, and I've happened to like fight through that. It's a quote from Game of Thrones, but I always say the night is dark and full of terrors because like, once that sun goes down, you're like, you don't know what's about to happen. It might be a good night, or it could be a real rocky night.
100%.
That first night I'm going through, it gets down to like 38 degrees, and I remember like I'm like shivering. You can't get your central nervous system shot, and like I go sit down by a fire, and I can hear the aid station like telling my crew like, yeah, that's the DNF fire. He's probably gonna go call it quits over there. I can like hear him, and I'm like, what's going on? All right, let's go. Let's get back up. Let's get going again. What is this? But it was just like so. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm sitting by a creek eating a slice of pizza. I'm just like, what is happening? Like, what is? How did I end up here? Like, what is going on with this? But it was like the coolest experience ever because they actually had a 50-mile race that started at night. It wasn't like where they waited
Ooh,
30 minutes or waited an hour and then they went off in the morning with us. It was called the Last Call 50s, and they started in like at midnight or something, and they had until noon the next
interesting.
day because we had till like 2 to finish. So like, and it was a lot out and back with some spiders and stuff, and all of a sudden you're running down this hill, and all of a sudden there's a wave of headlamps coming up towards you for the 50 milers that are cooking. And they're like, "How are you moving so fast?" Like, "Oh wait, no, you guys are only 50 milers. You're only like 10 miles in. I'm like 60
Yeah.
miles in. All right, all right."
You know, it's funny. You were just talking about you get down at the aid station and you're having a nice, enjoying your nice piece of pizza by the river. If you told just part of that story, everyone would be like, "Was he homeless? Was he like living by? Was he
1:30
camping
in the
by the?"
morning, you're eating
Yeah.
some pizza by a river. Like, what's going
You
on?
just like you did tell a story out of context and everyone's like, "Is he
Yeah,
okay? Like, is he doing okay?" You're like, "Yeah,
oh,
that's the time of my life. You know, I'm
yeah.
eating pizza
I'm
by
having a
the."
blast. I don't know about you, but like, this piece of pizza is awesome. It's great.
Oh, dude, food is so good when you
Oh
jump
my,
into an ultra. It's
it's
so
like
good.
I fell in love with when I was at Tahoe. Like the coolest thing in the world, right? You get to the aid station. They get mad at you if you try to stay standing on your feet when you're at the aid stations there. Like they tell you to sit down. They bring over a paper plate. They write your bib number on it. They tell you what they have at the end. It's like 90% hot food that they're cooking. So like they ask you what you want. They write it down. They bring it back to you. And like cooked food, especially like warm food late in those races, like when you're really in it, like there for me, there's nothing better. I fell in love with instant mashed potatoes made with some chicken broth in a cup, and that was jet fuel for me, man. Give me a Coca-Cola and a cup of that, some bacon, we're good to go.
Dude, spoken as a true ultra runner right there. That's only ultra runner food talk right there. That's
It's
exactly right.
funny. I tell my students like, oh yeah, what'd you have to eat during your race? I tell them like, tell us not to eat all of that. I'm like, the only time you guys should be eating this stuff is when you're doing like multi-day running events. Then it's okay to
the,
have
the only time that you need to have 2 liters of Mountain Dew and Coca Cola
it.
is during a 100 miler.
Stuff in your face with gummy worms and all the candy you want, potato
Yeah.
chips. That's the only time we should be doing this stuff.
I had a similar experience when my first time. It was a longer event. It was one of my first hundreds, and the guy was like, "Hey, you ordered ramen, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you want mashed potatoes in your ramen?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I do,
Sure. Try it out.
dude." I did a meme about it a long time ago, but it was life changing. It was so good. And I
Yeah.
bet you if I recreated it in my house, like on a comfortable
Be
weekend,
terrible.
I'd
Be
be like,
terrible.
"What is this? Get this out of
Who did this?
me!"
Why am I eating this?
Exactly. So, I mean, kudos to you for that being your first 100 and getting it done. That's insane.
Yeah, and
Elevation.
it was kind of the same thing. We're across the finish line, and I was like, man, thought I was going to be a little more tired than this.
Yeah.
Like, I trust me, I was, but like, I was looking to feel like really beat down. Like, I've fallen in love with really trying to find my limit, and you can't find your limit until you reach your limit. So, like, I, I, and I never thought at the time either, like, I'm going to go try to run a 200-mile race, and then that July, or no, it wasn't until the next year I ran San Diego in June,
Mm.
which I that race almost broke me in many different ways. It was 95 degrees outside. There's not a lot of coverage when you're up in the mountains in San Diego, or just outside of San Diego. And like I bonked from mile 25 till the end of the race pretty much. Like I'm just putting myself back together to get to the next aid station. And by the time I leave that aid station, I'm already falling apart. And then I get to mile 40. Longer story, but miscommunication. My crew missed me at an aid station at mile 40, and I wasn't going to see them for another like 25 miles. It was going to get dark outside. I had no long sleeves with me. I didn't have my phone
Ooh.
charger. My phone's at 3%. So like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to try to figure out a headlamp at some point at the next aid station, but I gotta just try to get there. And so I get to an aid station and I'm about to leave and I'm like, hey, does anybody have I hate to be this guy. Does anybody have a headlamp? Luckily, gentleman has a headlamp. So I'm like, all right, I got that taken care of. I'm already shivering. It's 70 degrees outside, mind you, but I'm already shivering because the sun's going down. My central nervous system is shot. Everything is wet from sweat. So I look at the aid station person. I'm like, you guys got a garbage bag? And they're looking at me like, huh? I'm like, I was a wrestler. I know how to insulate heat on my body. So I take this garbage bag, I punch armholes in it, I punch a head hole in it, I cover myself up, I take off, and then I just start sweating profusely because it's way too hot in there.
Way too hot, yeah.
I start ripping the bag off, and then I get way too cold again, so now I'm like tying the bag up in some places. I get to the next aid station, like I got a picture of me just like sitting there with smiling with my thumbs up because like what can you do but laugh in those situations? Like and that's the thing with ultras. It's like shit's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna go wrong. How can you handle it? And like I tell my students, I think dealing with you guys every day in class cannot be challenging after I just went and dealt with that for 35 hours or
Right.
whatever. Like, how hard can it be to deal with you for 40 minutes? All right, this is going to be so much easier now.
That's so funny that you did the trash bag. I've never done it, but one of my guests, Kelly, she's a super elite Spartan racer, and
Sure.
she would take me and wipe me with the floor with me. She's amazing. But she did the same thing. There's like unexpected weather blows in, and her and her brother just were run over to a trash can and grab the the extra bags.
Just find a way, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It
So
kept me
that's
warm for
awesome.
sure. It got me to survive to the next aid station. And then I left that aid station. I started throwing up and like just everything just went back to shit. But what are you gonna
It
do?
got it got you there. So
It got done. It got done. That's all that ever matters. It gets done.
so you did the San Diego 100, and then was it Tahoe after that?
In San Diego was 2023. I finished that race, and like you hear about, I was very still naive, and you hear about lotteries, and some of the lotteries like you have to
Hmm.
put in for many years before you even have a real chance to get in because you got to build up points or whatever. And I wasn't sure how the destination trail ones worked, so I just put my name. I was like, all right, I don't know if I will get into this, but I'm just gonna start throwing my name into some lotteries. So I threw my name in the Tahoe lottery. I got picked on the first try. So I was like, all right,
Wow,
I guess we're doing this next year.
how awesome!
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
pretty lucky thing. Like so then I tried to backwards plan some races and stuff along the way. I did 100K, Sean O'Brien 100K in the Malibu Mountains, and then I did the Zion 100, which I'm going back to do again this year,
nice.
um, in April, and then Tahoe was in June, and then since until I did Arches 50 miler in January, but from June to January I was from June to probably like November, I was in a very, very chill mode for a while after that 200.
Yeah, I want to hear about Tahoe, but I don't want us to get up to forget that because I think there's something to be unpacked there because I went through something similar with Cocodona.
Yeah.
This this post large race, this season of life that I
hmm
went through.
hmm
Sounds like you might have gone through something similar.
Oh no, it was a rough few months after that race. I got to a pretty low at one point, but we luckily snapped ourselves out of it, and we're back on the up and up.
Let's dig into that, but first I want to hear about Tahoe because obviously the 100 miler, what I think is so cool about the 100 miler is it's such a good taste of
It really
what a
is.
multi-day event will be because
Yeah.
you get the sunrise, you start the sunset, the overnight, the sunrise, and then you finished sometime that day, obviously,
Yeah.
but such a taste of what the multi-day event is. But tell us about the 200 for you.
It was, oh man, it was an experience of a lifetime. Like I said, having the crew that I had out there, like, so I had the one guy is my roommate, my best friend in the world. He was my crew chief. We did the whole trip out there both ways, driving each way together. And then I had a buddy come from Colorado who did my first 100 miler in Colorado. He was my crew chief for that race. So he came back out for that 200. And then the other dude was a guy I went to high school with.
Hmm.
I had not talked to him probably since like sophomore, junior year of college. And I'm 34, so that's about 12, 13 years, 14 years. And then I had put up a story that I had some people lined up to pace me that failed or had to back out for various reasons. And he reached out and was like, I'm trying to train for a marathon, and I think this would be a great opportunity for me to come log some miles. And
Heck
that's the
yeah.
guy that came out and ran 38 miles with me. It's crazy how that stuff
Nice.
works. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into. Like in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm trying to be prepared to move everything really slow, just take everything step by step. And I had some mantras lined up that I tried to remember. I get one from Chad Wright: be patient, be present, be deliberate. And that's one that's got me through a few different races. It goes along with another one that I love: this too shall pass, because things are going to go bad, things are going to go good for various portions, and it's just about not riding the wave, but trying to stay as much in the middle that you can. And then it's just pain. It's just pain at the end of the day. Like you're going to get to a point where things just hurt. And so that was my mentality going into it. The first day, the first 62 miles, you're by yourself. You're not allowed to have crew or pacer. You don't see crew until mile 62, and then that's when you can pick up a pacer. And so that first day, you spend pretty much completely by yourself. And I mean, obviously meeting people on the trail and stuff, but not getting any of the aid that you're looking forward to, because seeing your crew at an aid station is just such an extra added boost of energy. And so I get through the first night, threw up the first night. That's when you get to the highest point. You're up at like 9,700 feet above sea level, going through the snowpack. And yeah, that first night was a little bit rough, but I get to sunrise. Right at sunrise, I got to the aid station, and I took my first nap. My 300 milers that I've run, I've done like a 20, 30 minute nap. And so this was a new piece of like trying to figure out, how does the sleep work? How are we going to figure out sleep? So I did like an hour and a half, because that was a really long stretch that I went. So I did like an hour and a half. You wake up, it's sunlight out. And you're like, all right, just 140 more miles to go. You strap in for another day. You go through that day, and then again, you get to the aid station in the middle of the night, and it's like, all right, gonna shut it down here. Night two was interesting because that was the only sleep that I didn't get to have like in my crew car. I was at an aid station. It's like 35 degrees out. I got like three blankets. I'm in a zero gravity chair. I got a picture. I'm just like what the hell is going on with this right now? And you wake up and you get like it never got. It was one point where it got bad for me. Everything else, like I was able to stay pretty even keel. It was the third night. Yeah, the third night, I'm going into the third night, and I take a little 20-minute nap at that same aid station that I slept the night before. Take a 30-minute nap, wake up, and I have the most intense pain on the inside of my left knee that I have ever felt in my entire life. Like, I don't know if I slept wrong and it just from sitting there, but I get up and I spend the next 14 miles just like in the biggest world of hurt that I'd ever really felt in a while. And luckily, the thought of doubt never. I just kept saying to myself that it's just pain, and this is going to pass. It's just pain. This is going to pass. And I got to the next aid station. Pain didn't really go away too much. I ended up getting some KT tape on it and powered through. And then the last day I spent by myself. I didn't have any crew for the last 38 miles. I wake up Monday morning, it's day 4, and I'm like, all right, I want to finish today. I'm not going into Tuesday.
Mm.
So I get to mile like 195, and I have been running with this guy for a while. We actually became really good friends. Running with one of his pacers, and I are running the Mammoth 200 in October. Um, and we get to the last 15 miles, and I go, you know what, guys? I want you guys to I'm going to drop back a little bit. I'm going to let you go ahead. I just kind of I want to take this all in. I want to take this all in. And I texted my crew. I was like, hey guys, like, I'm crying right now because I'm just so thankful and grateful for you guys to be out here and commit 4 days of your life to help me accomplish something. Like the fact that you're giving up so much time to help me. And I just took in the last sunset by myself, and then sun went down. I had about 10 miles left, and we pushed pretty hard, and we got it done at 11:56 on Monday night, right before Tuesday, 86 hours.
Nice.
The video I have of me crossing, I'll never be able, like, I get chills every time I watch it. Uh, I'm screaming, I'm yelling, I'm going crazy. First person I get to see is my mom. I give her a big hug. It's a very special moment. It's a very special moment. So pretty cool, actually, kind of tangent on that. I love my mom. When I call her after a race, she's got way too many questions, like way too many questions for me. Like my brain's dead, and I'm like, Mom, I'll tell you everything you want to know like later on, but I just wanted to call and tell you I finished the race because I know you're concerned. So
Yeah.
in my 100 milers, I learned this trick that about half mile before the finish line, I'll call her about a half mile before the finish line so I can say, hey, all right, I got to go finish the race now. I just want to call and tell you I'm going to finish. So I outsmarted her this time, but she was going to be at the finish at Tahoe. So I'm about a half mile, quarter mile from the finish. And I called her. It's 11:30 at night. And she's like, oh my God, who's calling me? Who's going to, she answers the phone and I could just tell she's crying already as she's answering the phone. She's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm gonna be there in a couple minutes, Mom. She's like, all right, hurry. It was, I just got chills talking about it because it was a super special moment, and my mom and dad being there and getting to see my best friends when I got to the finish line. It's a memory that it'll never go away.
Yeah, I think it's important to relive those memories, Jonathan,
100%.
um, because all those people were there for you. And life gets dark and lonely sometimes, but I think those type of memories you hearken back to, you think back to, and you're like, there are people who love me. Like there are people who really care to be standing at a finish line at midnight, or
And that's Monday.
yeah, exactly. Just be standing here or running 38 miles with you that they weren't expecting. People care about you, and I think crew pacing that really shows those people that really care about you and are there for you. So I agree with you. Those finish line moments or those special moments in a race with friends or family or whatever it is, yeah, I often think about those as well. I think it's important to really
Yeah,
never forget what you put yourself through.
yeah.
Honestly, what you put your family through too, to
hmm
an extent.
No, trust me. My mom doesn't sleep very well while I'm racing. If I'm doing overnight stuff, she does not sleep well through the night.
You're like, Mom, don't worry. There's just mountain lions and bears.
I,
There's nothing like Australia. It's all
yeah,
we're
it's just
safe.
like bears and lions. I'm not worried about it. It's not like snakes and some caribou that are going to come attack.
Right. So I'd love to hear about your post race blues or whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard people call it different things, but I don't know about you, but when you said that, it reminded me of what I went through. I went through a pretty dark post race moment after Cocodona, so I'd love to hear about yours.
It's a hard thing to like come back from, and because you're trying not to hold yourself, because you're within like 2 weeks it's already like, all right, like that accomplishment's already come and gone, like what am I working towards next? Like I don't want to sit here and be too content that I just did, but you just accomplished something that 99.9% of the people in the world are never even going to think to attempt to do, and you went out and did it, and all the work. I mean, I said this when I crossed the finish line. I looked around and I was like, is that it? It's just over? Like, there's nothing else? Like, this is just done now? And it was hard because, you want to like allow yourself to kind of celebrate, but not go too crazy, and you don't want to completely destroy everything you built in the build up to it. And I allowed myself, because there was like, going back to what I was talking about with my drinking, like there was times where like the ultra running was just like a mask of, oh, I'm doing the work to better myself by just showing these accomplishments, but not by actually doing the healing work with yourself to heal the stuff that you've been through for the actual root cause of why you were doing this stuff. And Tahoe was kind of an eye opener for me that, like, number one, I am capable of so much more that I could ever possibly fathom and imagine. Because I will always say, like, when I first started running ultras, the idea of running a 200 miler never crossed my mind. I was like, 50, hundreds maybe, but like more than that, those people are psychotic. And now I'm even like thinking of some personal challenges for myself beyond the 200 plus mile race of like things that I can do to suffer for a cause to like raise money for stuff. I got some stuff in the works that are coming up that I'm going to be announcing here soon, but it was a dark time of like, am I defined by my accomplishments? Is the running all that defines me? If I'm not doing stuff to do with running, is that everything for me that it's going to be, or is there more out there? Can I find more through this and in this? And for a while I wasn't sure I could. So I was like, am I just spinning my tires doing this stuff? But no, I started to really become, I've always been introspective and reflective, but I think I've even taken that a step further, and I feel much more present in my life, that I'm more in tune to the things that are happening around me, and I'm trying to take all the stuff that I'm doing now and trying to help people. I have always my entire life had the urge to help people. I teach elementary school, I coach high school. My best friend when I was growing up got diagnosed with a rare form of pediatric cancer, and they gave him 6 months to live, and he lived for 6 years. And in those 6 years, he started a foundation raising money for pediatric cancer. He started a toy drive to get toys to kids in the hospital at Christmas, like he was. He started a firefighter scholarship, a fellowship at the Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago. So I've seen somebody who's going through it still able to show up for other people. And I want to use what I do to give back to people, to show what's possible for them. And that's kind of been what's kind of pulled me out of that in November. Like I said, one of my buddies was talking to me, and he's into sponsorships and partnerships with brands and stuff. And like, not even just for that purpose, but just like, hey, I think that you can put yourself out there and really help people. And I've started posting more in the last few months, and stuff that I've posted has really helped people. And I've had kids in high school that I haven't talked to in the longest time reaching out to me, family members that the stuff they're seeing from me is inspiring them to want to do better. And I tell people all the time, everybody's got their own hard. It's not about going out to run a 100-mile race. It's not about going to run a
Yes.
200-mile race. Maybe going for a 5-mile walk is hard for you. Maybe getting yourself to sit down and work on the stuff that you said you're going to work on for your job is hard for you. Everybody's got their own hard. I do think personally that physical pursuits and physical challenges help you grow in every area of life better than anything else. But everybody's got their own hard. So you can't look around and compare yourself, because that was part of the reason I got to a low place, is because I finished this race and I'm looking around at like the people I follow on Instagram, and they're still out grinding and doing stuff, and they're running their 100-mile weeks, and they're doing this and that, and you can get caught up. Comparison's the thief of joy. I work every day as a teacher and a coach. My day job goes from 7 a.m. to almost 6 at night every single day, and I'm still trying to find ways to get my training in where I need it to, and still show up for myself in a way that can also help other people as well.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule, man.
Yeah,
All those hours.
it's
That's
a lot.
tough.
I gotta. I used to take it for granted. I used to take my job for granted or again, I started being more present in life when I quit drinking, and it's only grown since. But I got a note on the wall of my bulletin board. It says, "Take advantage of the opportunity you have to make a difference in the lives of young people every day." And that's something that I definitely took for granted, but it's something I truly see so much more now. Like I said, I got former players who are doing high rocks, running half marathons, full marathons.
Nice.
The kid that ran the last 10 miles with me in Zion, I told him I'd do a race with him. I was hoping he was going to pick an ultra. We're going to do a full Ironman in July at Lake Placid. And like, the
Yeah,
the
dude.
bike's got 7,000 feet of climbing, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna be miserable. Let's go run 100, please. I'll suffer for 30 hours over 18 hours any day of the week.
Yeah,
But like, and I got a sixth grade girl who tells me about the 5Ks and 10Ks that she's running, and I'm
awesome.
not trying to be egocentric that I think that I'm the main reason for it, but I definitely think I'm part of the reason for it, because they see me doing this kind of stuff to show them that, hey, like, it's possible for you. Like, it's possible. There's nothing special about me that allows me to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great perspective to have. And this idea that I think a lot of us tie all this ultra stuff or whatever we're doing, we tie it to our identity. And so, like, I mean, I'm preaching on this and I'm even doing it right now. Like, let's just be honest. So, this is obviously a big part of my life, and having some like issues with one of my legs, and my knee's really bugging me, and I'm just getting all like mad about it and upset.
Hmm.
It's like, dude, why are you've attached this to your personality again? Like, you've made it about your identity as a part of this thing that has nothing to do with who you are. But that's so hard. It's so easy for us to pontificate on it and be like, oh yeah, we're so good. We've transcended nirvana. We are there. It's all BS.
Yeah.
Everyone's dealing with this, so I'm glad you're speaking on it, because it's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
really tough. Like, the high that you get post 100-miler is huge, and the crash is not as big as like the 200. The high is huge. It's huge.
You hit this big peak.
And then the crash is
Wow,
way
yeah.
worse, and
Yeah.
you just get dropped. And for me, man, I was speaking about this on a podcast when I was being interviewed, and I was saying, like, I didn't care if Jim Walmsley would have been at my door a week after Cocodona. I'd have been like, I don't want to talk about running. I don't want to see running shoes. I don't want to. All my ultra buddies, like, were still texting about it after the fact. I was like, stop. And I don't know what it was. That's why I was so interested to hear your perspective on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was for me, and I haven't gotten introspective enough to really understand what I put myself through, like what it was that I was doing to myself post, big event. And honestly, it's been really tough to get really serious about training after that big event. I mean, I've done bigger ones, not bigger than Cocodona, but like, I've done 100. I did Sedona Canyons. I've done other smaller
Nice.
races since then. But dude, the eye of the tiger is not there.
Yeah. It's hard to build that back up.
Yeah, that eye of the tiger, it's gone. Like, I always equate things to Rocky. That's how old and 80s I am. Like, I'm always like,
Hey man, I love running.
it's like Rocky 3 where Apollo,
Yeah.
Mr. T beats him.
Yeah.
And like, Apollo's like, you need the eye of the tiger. And he takes him to that gym, in the
Yeah.
hood.
We're
in
running
LA,
on the
and he's
beach
like,
and stuff.
yeah, he's like walking through the gym, and all those young guys who just look nasty, mean at him. He's
Yep.
like, all those guys have the eye of the tiger. I really feel that when I'm talking to these
Yeah.
other ultra people who are like really excited and in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, I got to get that back. I got to
They
find
they
that
haven't been
back.
beaten down by the sport enough yet.
Yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. For
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
hey, Cocodona, because like for part of it for me was like, what's next? Because like there's only you go to
Mhm.
200, it's like, all right, Tahoe is like a really hard 200. Like I put in
Yeah,
for Moab this year. I had originally kind of had plans to maybe try to do Cocodona next year, but like I said, I got something in the works for next March that I'm trying to do. But it was like kind of like a where can this go besides crazy hard things next? Like if I sign up for again back to identity, if I only sign up for 100, like are people gonna be like, oh, you're going back to? But like nobody cares. Like nobody cares about that stuff. They appreciate that you're out attempting to do something really hard because like at the end of the day, nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. Work harder. That's the motto.
yeah. Well, but I think there's a lot to that, Jonathan, that to unpack, because at least for me, since like 2018 ish, it was a constant buildup, right? It was like
Yeah.
half Ironman, full Ironman, 50 miler, 50-mile bike. We did. It was called the Whiskey Man at the time. Air Vipa doesn't do it anymore, but the Whiskey Man, Monster 100K, first 100-miler.
Yep.
It just kept building up and up and up, and then you get done, and you're like,
What do I do next now?
yeah,
I got to do the Arizona 300.
yeah. Oh, I guess I got to go do the Monster 300 to be somebody.
Yeah, until somebody makes a point.
Yeah, and then Candace or Jamil's gonna be like, oh, here's the multi-state 550
Yeah.
milers. Like, oh crap,
There's gonna be a organized transcontinental race.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Canada to Mexico, like some insane thing. You know
Yeah,
they're gonna do it someday, but
absolutely.
that's the thing is it's like my identity, our identity gets so wrapped up into like talking about the next big event. When
Yeah.
someone asks you what you're working on and you tell them and they get excited, you get excited and you're getting kind of validated. I think it's so hard to when someone asks, "Oh, what are you doing now?" and you're like, "Nothing," and they're like,
Hanging out, just living.
when you say, "Is that a race? The nothing, the
Yeah.
100? Is the not? No, not nothing.
Is
No,
that a
no
last man
racing."
standing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is that like the Barkley? You're like, no, no, no. You don't understand. I'm not doing anything.
Just hanging out, just training to train and stay healthy.
Exactly, exactly. So I always love to ask people about that because I think we see it in other people, but we don't really be honest with ourselves that we're doing it to ourselves. You're like, oh yeah, my Strava buddy Tim, dude, he's got the post race blues bad, and you're like, dude, you were depressed for 3 months after Cocodona. Shut up. Like, what are you talking about? You're like, Tim missed one group run. Like, you didn't
Yeah,
exist for 3 months. What are you talking
yeah. You
about?
disappeared from the face of the earth for a few months while you were trying to figure it out.
Well, yeah, where you're trying to get right with yourself.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love it. And honestly, Jonathan, when you do announce your big initiative that you're talking about, please let me know. Send it to me.
absolutely.
I wanna tell everybody about it. Especially I've got a really really big heart for charity bibs or charity events or anything to do for people raising money. I think that's really special. I think it takes a lot to do that, especially if you're kind of creating it on your own and you're not just doing a charity bib, which is still a
No,
big
yeah,
deal.
absolutely.
But if you're creating some like big crazy adventure on your own and doing it for charity, that's even bigger. So kudos to you. But please let me know, and I'll
No, I
definitely,
absolutely will.
not that I have as many followers as Kim Kardashian or something, but I'll
Hey,
definitely post it out to
anything
people.
helps, man.
Yeah,
Anything will help. It's gonna be something really cool. Like I said, it'll be a labor of love, suffering for a cause. It's been
I
fun to
love it.
suffer for some different reasons and stuff, but I didn't get into Moab for the lottery, and I ended up finding Mammoth and getting into that for October. It made me want to try to find something else like outside of just an organized race to like really try to push myself in something. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about it. I had one guest early on, like he did a few like ultra races, and he was like, and he just starts like doing these insane FKTs up in Canada.
You know,
I'll
crazy.
send
The FKTs are wild.
I'll send you his episode. Like it's insane stuff.
Yeah,
Hopefully, maybe you listen to it and get some ideas.
yeah.
I just sat there and listened to him the whole time, and my mouth was probably just wide open. Like, oh, what are you like?
We
It
do
was
what?
insane,
Excuse me?
insane stories. Anyway, hey, you've been so gracious with your time, and this has been so much fun. It's so fun to meet people like on the internet, and then you realize you're like down the street from me. Like, why aren't we
So it's
hanging
super
out?
fast race at Mesa. I was like, oh, it's like 20 minutes from me.
Yeah, why aren't we running together? So we
So
need
she
to
just
do
on a run.
that. Yeah, let's connect. I'll connect with you offline and we'll exchange information. But to wrap up, I always give my guests the last word. If you want to speak on something that maybe you thought of that we didn't cover in the podcast, maybe give a shout out, maybe both, maybe share another mantra you have. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to share the last word.
Just first of all, I want to say thank you so much for your time. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I would say anything, man. It's just keep showing up. Like that's all I can say. Because I mean, there was a point where showing up seemed like the hardest thing in life for me. It just seemed like I was in a rut and just spinning my tires, and it didn't seem like things were ever going to change. And just small little changes. Don't make it too big. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace, and just keep pushing yourself forward. Because at the end of the day, that's all we got, right? Go out and do the best you can every day, and life's gonna go well for you.
I love it. Yeah, it's it's such a it's such an overlooked thing, consistency, right? It's like,
That's the name of the game, man. Like
yeah,
that's where my struggle sometimes comes, where it's like, people want to be like, oh, I did this, this, and this, so like I've earned like a full rest day. Like, not saying you got to be pushing to the limit every day, but maybe some days that you feel like you deserve the rest, you maybe don't. And that teaches you that maybe the next time, like, oh, I can push myself through a little bit of a harder thing. And then you push through a little bit harder and a little bit harder.
Yeah,
It's the same with anything. It's just by building it by little blocks. Don't try to make a big leap. Just little by little, just keep making the changes that you want. And you're going to blink your eyes in 6 months or a year or 2 years, and your life's going to be completely different.
I love it. Well, Jonathan, that perfect last words. I couldn't have said it better myself. I do want to also connect with you offline and send you a
Absolutely.
gift from Death March Running Company. I love their stuff. I'm an athlete for them, but I liked their stuff way before I was ever
Yeah,
connected with them.
I love that. I have never had any of their stuff yet, but I always love the stuff
Oh,
I see
dude,
from them.
all the guys, the owners, their families, it's all great. They were so supportive of me during a charity bib I did last year for Sedona Canyons, and they're just a great group. And they make I love all their art and all their stuff. So I'll obviously connect with you offline. I don't think you want to share your address with the internet, but we'll connect offline. I'll get that and I'll get you set up with that. But again, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun, and your story's amazing, and I feel honored to be able to share it out with people. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.